once we quit trying to just grow our church and we start trying to reach our city, it changed everything.
Everything?
Everything. How we pray, how we budget, how we staff, how we run meetings, questions we ask ourselves.
But only some of the pastors are buying into this, I thought,
No.
No.
It's taken us a decade to figure out what it means.
Okay.
And now, many of the people who have left got infected with it and have gone out into the harvest.
I love to hear that.
Others who've come in had to buy into that because that's part of our process now. For example, our youth pastors own harvest area out in the schools. Now, in the past, you come in and take care of these 200 kids we got. My junior high pastor understands, well, there's about 6,000 junior high kids. That's your parish. Now,
they don't attend church.
Yeah, they don't all attend church. In fact, most of them are lost. But if I tell him, honestly, he can do a lot for those 200 kids with about 25 adults. He's going to really do a lot in those kids' lives. But with that same 25 or 50 adults, he could touch maybe 500, 600 of those kids in the parish if he sees it.
In what way is this happening?
He can be out in the schools. He can run programs that are designed for kids that aren't Christians yet. He thinks differently when that's his harvest that he believes God's called him to love, shepherd, and care for.
But are you talking about putting programs that sound like church into the schools?
No.
Are you talking about doing things that...
No, we're not trying to do church in school. The school has its mission, and you know something? They need a lot of help. And when we've come along and said, we realize you're trying to educate kids and there's a lot of challenges and needs, maybe we can help you with some of those needs out of the goodness of our heart. You know, they've rarely ever said no. And we've come alongside and found needs that we're happy and able to help. And we've built relationships, and as a result, some of those people have come and checked us out. Some of them have just been bettered and blessed from where they are, and they never come to us.
And there are seeds that we plant, and we in the church, we're always talking about planting seeds and singing the songs about planting seeds and sowing seeds. But if pastors aren't careful, I'm not a pastor, but if pastors aren't careful,
we sow all the seed to the flock that's inside the barn.
Or they're thinking that every seed has to show up on the
Sunday morning at 11 o'clock.
Yes, and it has to reflect in the budget, and that's a pretty sick way to look at human beings, isn't it? I mean, is that a sick way to look at?
It is, but you know, it's not just pick on pastors. Most businesses, teachers, everybody. There's a reductionism in our culture, and God is not a reductionist.
What are you talking about?
Everybody wants to reduce things to what they can control. We have a high need for control. Let's reduce things down and make it as simple and easy as possible. It's the factory worker that wants to do, 4 hours of work over 8 hours. It's the teacher that wants to get the papers graded and not really care if the kids learn it or not. It's the pastor who just wants to get a good offering and get to Monday, his day off. I'm not trying to belittle that. I'm just saying it's easy, and I have been there, I confess, and I hope I never go there again.
Is that a harder life than... I mean, is that more of an energy draining experience than the the pastoral transformation that you're talking about?
It's, I can't go back to living that way. I lived that a long time. It's wearing. I don't think we're designed for it, and so I don't think it necessarily brings the John 10:10. I came that you might have life abundantly. I never experienced ministry abundantly doing it that way. Since I've been following this transformation journey, I can't wait to get out of bed and go to work. I can't wait to go out in the neighborhood and talk to school teachers and talk to lost people.
Okay, let me give you a great quote out of one of my favorite areas of intense study, interest and boredom. Someone made a great observation. They said, the trick is to blur the distinction between work and play.
Yeah, if you find what you should do with your life, you'll never work another day in your life. I don't know who said that, but I've heard it many times. I believe God knows what we're about more than we do. We have to learn to listen to that. I mean, most of my life I listened to a lot of good people who taught me a lot, well-meaning, but many of them, and maybe it wasn't their fault, maybe it was my own immaturity. I heard what maybe God didn't mean and what they didn't mean. And eventually God got through it, thank the Lord, to realize God has a plan for my life. And other people did too. And for the longest time I was saluting other people, thinking I'm saluting God. And I had to find the courage to say, I know they mean well for me, but they really don't know me like Jesus, and I need to listen to him first and have the courage to follow where that leads me, if it means leaving this church or leaving the ministry and starting a company.
I have to tell you, I know some great guys who, some of them were not very excited about attending church all the time. I'm not very excited about attending a traditional church, but I love it when I can get together with a good, energetic, really meaningful, just some kind of a get-together with fellow believers that's not done the same way, or even almost the same way, you know, every time. I like a strong degree of spontaneity, which would be people acting like themselves, exercising their gifts. We're just talking about natural stuff, but one of the funniest things I noticed was when some guys I knew began packing heat. I mean, you know, they began wearing guns under their vests at church. Oh, they loved guns. And this one guy that I really like, he was like a brand new believer, you know. I mean, somebody who was really excited. You could see his face beaming, but he wasn't doing anything that would affect the world outside, but it was just for the first time he felt like he was doing something pretty interesting and maybe important in the extremely rare possibility that, you know, somebody would come in and try to assault the church, and boy, you can bet my friend would want to be the guy who was there to
take a bullet for the pastor. I like guys like that. Let me tell you what I have come to conclude about the church, and I love the church. By the way, I love the church for two good reasons. One is I love them. I love people. Secondly, Jesus loved the church and died for it.
Okay, now,
no plan B.
Okay, we're not talking about loving all the traditions, because everybody's got a different set of traditions.
I'm talking about the church as the people, not forms at this point.
Right.
So when I criticize the church, I feel like I've qualified to do that because I work every day in the church. I love the church. I've given my life to it. I volunteer for the church, not just work for it. So I love the church, warts and all, problems and all. It's still God's plan. It can just be done better. The challenge in the church is our forms. We talked about the ability to take eternal principles and build forms that help us achieve God's mission.
Are you saying forms or forum?
Forms.
F-O-R-M.
Yeah. Yeah, the form, like Sunday school and worship and Bible study and all those things. The great temptation and problem we have is we lose the real dynamic essence of what the mission is. And what happens is it's a lot easier to just do the habits and the forms. It's a lot easier to get up and preach a sermon that I just bought off the internet, add some illustrations. It's not, I'm not even saying it's necessarily wrong. It's wrong for me, but the point of it is, if we're just finding stuff in the church world to help keep the church running like a big clock, I think we've forgotten what the church is about. When we start having harvest eyes, and you look out at your harvest, it starts moving you. Jesus cried when he looked at the harvest. When you start looking at your harvest and you're not moved to tears, you're probably not seeing the whole harvest yet. And it will transform you. And you will begin to say, oh my goodness, this little machinery we got isn't affecting that at all. And that begins to become a transformative moment when you say, wait, what game am I in?
Okay, I want you to say something real concrete here. There's the machine, church, and there's the
mission of what the church is to do in this place, this parish that I feel called to.
Where?
For me, it's about 150,000 people that live within driving distance of my church. It's schools, it's hospitals, it's businesses, it's neighborhoods.
Not trying to get them to attend a service, which is the typical mission.
Yeah. No, there's enough of our capacity here to try to do that. It's to stop teen pregnancy. It's to hopefully reduce crime. It's to save marriages. It's to help struggling businesses. It's to help people learn how to be fruitful people.
To take Jesus Christ's teachings
and let God make you a good butcher, baker, candlestick maker, doctor, third grade teacher, grease monkey. All of those things are good and necessary. And Jesus can and would do all of them. And he wants to do all of them through us. And the church has forgotten that's what we're in business to do. Helping our people discover how would Jesus do their job so that we can impact our parish, our city.